Today I want to find out, would it be possible to beat Fallout 3 without spending or using any caps? I tried this challenge a few weeks ago with Skyrim survival mode and it was so much fun. I decided that I would definitely have to try it with the rest of the Bethesda games, so subscribe if you want to see that, because that is definitely coming. So I just want to briefly touch on the rules for this challenge, as well as constraints and possible issues I might have during this run. See, I haven't actually finished it, I'm kind of just editing it as I go along and do each section. So I don't actually know if this challenge will be completed, but one way or the other, I will be putting it out even if I totally fail. But you guys already know that since you're actually watching this, so yeah. So, basic rule number 1, no buying or selling anything from any kind of vendor. And rule number 2 is kind of attached to rule 1 in that I can't use caps to buy beds. Any kind of transaction that involves caps is not allowed. Apart from that, anything else goes. So I'd say the biggest challenge for a run like this is going to be finding a supply of stim packs and ammunition. See, unlike the Elder Scrolls series, the Fallout franchise is actually a game built with the scavenger mentality in mind. Put it simply, you can't go through these games without finding random medical supplies and ammunition lying about. So it might not be as bad as I think it's going to be, although I find that when I'm playing Fallout I always end up having to buy assault rifle ammo, so that could be quite difficult. Anyway, let's jump into the run. So to start with, I decided to be a girl, and since we're going to be dirt poor for this run, I decided to create a character around little orphan Annie, especially since your parents do die in this game. I think it'll be really interesting to see the different dialogue options we have in this playthrough, as I've only ever played through as a male character. So I think there's some gender specific perks, so that'll be quite interesting to see. And the second reason, simply put, is I've never played the female character before, so I thought, why not? Damn it, I should have been Oliver from Oliver Twist. Oh well, never mind, I've made the character now. So as with most of my Fallout 3 playthroughs, I set my intelligence at 9, safe in the knowledge I could get it straight up to 10 as soon as I collected the bobblehead from Rivet City. Agility is quite important as I do use a lot of VATs, and I learned a valuable lesson from my last run where I put perception right the way down to the bottom and I had no idea where the enemies are coming from. And since I can't use caps for this challenge, I'm not even going to bother with charisma as I won't be buying or selling anything at all. So you don't get any caps in Vault 101, so let's just skip through this. You guys know how it goes. Have a birthday party, shoot a rad roach, take the GOAT exam where you choose your tag skills. Not forgetting, of course, to pick up the medicine bobblehead. I chose small gun, sneak, and repair as my main skills, as I think they're going to be the most useful. I definitely want those sneak shots, and I'm going to have to repair things myself, because I won't be allowed to use caps. Then one day, Marta woke me from a pleasant dream I'd been having about her. Upon telling her this, it was clear to me now that my love was not reciprocated. Reeling from my broken heart and the rage of 1,000 incels, I decided the world was going to have to pay for this. So I headed through the vault, systematically killing everyone and everything I could find. With the exception of the Overseer, because if I killed Amarta's father, I'd surely never be able to trick her into one day loving me. See, this is what happens when you leave a hormonal teenager in a vault full of weirdos. Finally escaping the clutches of Big Brother, I was able to hit level 2. I distributed my points amongst repair, small guns and sneak. Like I say, they will be more useful to me in this run. I also chose the Swift Learner perk for extra experience. Upon entering Megaton, the first thing I did was pickpocket Lucas Sims. You know, this is actually starting to feel more like Oliver. Anyway, I stole his house key and broke into his house. This is because there is a strength bobblehead sat on the table. Then I lockpicked Colin Moriarty's cabinet, stole his computer password, and found the location of the visitor known as James. And I'm sorry to say it, 3Dog, but you're going to have to wait. Galaxy News Radio is on hold until I can get some experience. I think I'm going to have to do some side questing, probably most of the Wasteland Survival Guide. But first it was off to Rivet City to collect the intelligence bobblehead from the science lab. It's possible to talk to Dr. Lee at this point and skip out the Galaxy News Radio part of the quest line, but I kinda want to do it for the experience. So I was really keen to try and save as much ammo as possible, as obviously I wouldn't be able to buy any and I would just be relying on whatever I could find. Unfortunately though, there are some creatures in the Capital Wasteland that will chase you forever, so I kinda have to take out everything I come across, which will waste ammo. So the first part of the Wasteland Survival Guide has you going to the Super Duper Mart in search of medical supplies and food supplies. It's also a good opportunity to pick up some new guns from the raiders as well as extra ammunition. It was actually while I was in the Super Duper Mart that I realised just how useful the sneak skill would be, especially in poorly lit areas. Inevitably though, eventually I was going to be forced into a firefight with some of the raiders. Now this was a problem because I didn't want to waste too much ammo. Also, I didn't want to use any med packs. I did get absolutely shredded in the Super Duper Mart, but I was able to level up, so that recovered my health. Thinking I was definitely going to need a higher sneak skill, I put every single point into sneak. I also chose the next level of swift learner so that I could gain more experience quickly. I found a laser pistol in the Super Duper Mart and turned one of the raiders to ash, so I'm thinking that they must have been a vampire. So for the next scene in Moira's Theatre of Cruelty, I had to become irradiated. So having an ungodly level of radiation in Fallout 3 will start to affect your attributes. As Three Dog says, tick tick tickety means run your ass out of there. So naturally my plan for doing most of the Wasteland Survival Guide was to get enough experience to actually get through the main story. However, I was going to try and avoid as much of this as possible. I tried to lie to Moira and tell her that I'd already been to the minefield, but she just did not believe me, so I actually had to run all the way there. Now I normally try to avoid laser weapons in Fallout 3 as I do prefer small guns, it's just personal preference, but I decided to use a laser pistol because I didn't want to expend too much ammo with my other guns. And while I didn't consider the raiders to be a credible threat at this stage, they were wasting too much of my ammo on the way to the minefield. I really hope this experience is worth it. Also, the laser pistol takes like 1,000 years to reload, so I don't want to be relying on that forever. Eventually though, I was able to reach the playground within the minefield. I picked up a few mines as souvenirs and went on my merry way. I left the sniper alone because I didn't actually want to come up here to do this quest in the first place. As I expected, it drained a lot of my resources, but now was the time for the payoff. I was going to get a sweet amount of experience, or so I thought. I didn't actually get enough experience to hit the next level, so I told Moira I'd help with the mole rats and decided to fix the pipes around Megaton, hoping to get more experience. Eventually I was able to level up and I put every single point into sneak, bringing it to a total of 85. I also chose the last perk in Swift Learner. Then I decided to turn my attention to an unforeseen problem. See, since I wasn't selling anything, my character was constantly becoming over encumbered, so I was going to need somewhere to store all of my things. I wanted to keep my things for repairing, and as far as I'm aware, you can't get a house in Megaton until you either betray Mr. Burke or blow up Megaton. However, if I could find a way into Tenpenny Tower, I might be able to get a room there. Unfortunately though, when I went to rig the bomb, it turns out my explosive skill is just too low, so for the time being, that will have to be on hold. But what's Orphan Annie without Daddy Warbucks, right? For the time being, I was going to have to continue with the Wasteland Survival Guide. I started with the Mole Rat Repellent Stick. It's basically just hit a few mole rats with the repellent stick and watch them explode. Sneak proved extremely useful for ammo conservation in the darkest part of the sewers. I also decided to head to the end of the sewers after completing the mole rat objective because I wanted to find out where the sewer led to, as it might lead me to somewhere I could fast travel to later. And it led me right into a swarm of super mutants. Now super mutants aren't really something I've dealt with in great supply up to this point, and they were quite difficult to take down. One thing I was really excited about was I was able to find a Chinese assault rifle on one of the super mutants. This was extremely lucky as buying one wasn't an option. In my opinion, the Chinese assault rifle is the best weapon in the game. Now I got absolutely torn to shreds in the Mirelurk den. I got killed not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. You know what? I'm sick of counting. I died a lot of times. Eventually, when I did make it out of the den, I was on pretty much 1 HP, which was really good because my next objective was to get as damaged as physically possible for Moira's sick experiments. Stitching a smiley face into my beautiful skin, I'm afraid, was the final straw. I decided it would be time to continue with the main storyline and head to Galaxy News Radio. I had to use quite a bit of ammo on the way to the Galaxy News radio station through the sewer network. Dealing with ghouls and the odd super mutant wasn't too much of a problem, but they did waste some resources that I really should be saving. If you can pull it off, a sneak shot will do considerably more damage than a normal shot, so sticking to the shadows and picking them off silently was the best way to go. Once I got to the GNR building, my plan was basically to let the Brotherhood of Steel take care of most of the super mutants in the area, as I didn't really want to waste too much ammo on these guys. Then, for the first time since I picked up Fallout 3, I was able to take down the super mutant behemoth pretty much on my own, getting me experience for actually killing it. 65 experience, are you kidding me? I got a nice chunk of experience from 3 Dog, and he gave me the objective to fix the radio tower. I slept in his bed, stole his medical supplies, and was on my way. I ended up wasting a lot of Chinese assault rifle ammo in a firefight with some super mutant brutes on the way to the subway station, and I actually ended up somewhere I've never really come out before, right at the top of the mall area. See, every time I take the subways, I end up at the bottom end where the trenches are. Anyway, for the most part, I ignored the super mutants and headed straight for the Museum of Technology. I killed a super mutant on the way and leveled up, although I wouldn't be able to until there were no enemies around. By this point I was level 6, and with an 85 sneak skill I decided to put everything into small guns, bringing my total up to 75. I also took the toughness perk for extra damage resistance. Fighting my way through the Museum of Technology, I wasted a lot more ammo than I wanted to. Sometimes I would find super mutants, particularly super mutant brutes, with assault rifles, and so I was able to replenish some of my ammo that way. Luckily there's a bed station just next to the radio dish, so I was able to sleep and recover my health before returning to Free Dog for a big bit of experience. And since I already discovered Rivet City previously, I was able to fast travel there, see Dr. Lee, and head to the Rotunda. I actually did manage to get quite a few sneak shots on the Senators and super mutants in the building, but inevitably I did end up in a firefight. Originally I decided it would probably be a good idea to just clear out all the super mutants now, because I know you have to do that as an objective later. But this was proving to be a costly waste of ammo, and I figured that if I came back at a higher level I might stand a better chance of one-shotting them. So I mopped up any super mutants that had already detected me and headed to the Rotunda to grab Dad's tapes. There's a super mutant brute in the purifier room who is an absolute nightmare to take down. I think the last time I did a Fallout 3 challenge he ended up killing me a few times. So it wasn't until I leveled up in Tranquility Lane that I realised I had made a massive mistake. You see, in order for me to talk my way into Little Lamplight, I was going to need the Child at Heart perk. In order to get this perk, you need at least 4 charisma, and I set my charisma to 1 right at the start of the game. Yeah, you can see the problem. So getting the charisma bobblehead was an option, but frankly I couldn't be bothered, and I thought that normal game progression would allow me to level up a few more times anyway, so I decided it would be for the best if I just leveled up, took the intense training every time I leveled up, and put a point into charisma until I got a charisma of 4, which would allow me the Child at Heart perk. And while it is kind of annoying that I have to waste perks doing this, it's an easier option than starting again. So I completely ignored Braun and his sick little world and decided to use the failsafe to get out of Tranquility Lane quickly, rescuing our father and leveling up again in the process. So I pretty much split my skill points between small guns and sneak, and once again went for intense training to increase charisma. So my next objective was to head back to the Jefferson Memorial in order to clear out the purifier of any super mutants to make it ready for the Project Purity scientists. I found quite a few ammunition crates that I didn't notice the first time I was here, so that was pretty useful. At this point in the game, my sneak and small gun skill was good enough that I was pretty much able to one-shot your standard enemies with a sneak headshot. Naturally, I did get found eventually, which led to some pretty bad firefights in which I wasted quite a bit of hunting rifle ammo. Then the Enclave showed up to crash the party after we fixed the purifier. Now this wasn't entirely a bad thing. You see, the Enclave, as well as having power armor, use plasma weapons, so I was able to rearm myself, albeit using plasma weapons, which my character wasn't skilled at. Then Dad died, sealing my fate forever as Little Orphan Annie. And finally I had to smash through the Enclave soldiers to escape the Purifier. Now I anticipated that they would be difficult, which is why I always insist that I level up to some degree, which is entirely the reason I did the Wasteland Survival Guide, but this was actually really harder than I thought it was going to be. For one, I was going to have to be forced to use the Chinese assault rifle, which is something I really didn't want to do, as I did not want to waste the ammo for it until endgame. And another thing is I was using so many stim packs in this fight to get out of the Purifier. You've got to remember that I wasn't allowed to buy anything for this challenge, so every stim pack in every round I'm using really counts. The ghouls at this point were nothing short of a joke and not worth mentioning, but I will anyway. I blew their heads off. So once I got to the Citadel, we were able to formulate a plan in order to find a GEC for Project Purity, as well as get some training for power armor. Now I didn't actually pick up any Enclave power armor at this time, as it would have been too heavy for me, so for now I wasn't going to have any power armor to use. So as things stood at the minute, I wasn't currently a high enough level in order to get the Child at Heart perk, because my charisma wasn't yet high enough, so I would have to finish the Wasteland Survival Guide, hoping that would give me enough experience. I only needed one more level. So after clearing out the Robco factory, finding out a little bit of information about Rivet City, and visiting the local library, I just about had enough experience. Unfortunately though, it wasn't enough, so I decided it would be time to go and clear out the mall. I thought that killing all the super mutants there would give me enough experience to finally level up. The fighting was long and very exhausting on my ammo and stim packs and was infinitely pointless, as I didn't really need to be in this area anymore. However, I did finally reach my goal of leveling up. For the first level, I put my explosive skill up to 25 because I was considering blowing up Megaton. I put the rest of my points into medicine because I really needed the maximum use from every stim pack. And for my perk, I actually decided to go for Here and Now, which will allow me to level up again, allowing me to distribute more skill points, as well as taking the Child at Heart perk. And that's exactly what I did. I put my medicine all the way up to 86, spending every point, and then I took the Child at Heart perk, which would allow me access to Little Lamplight. So there are other ways into Little Lamplight, but in my opinion this is the quickest and easiest, especially for a challenge like this. Although to be totally honest, the amount of time it took me to actually finish the Wasteland Survival Guide and kill all the super mutants in order to level up, it might have been quicker just to do the slavers. So in the interest of ammo conservation, I thought it would be a good idea to try and sneak shot the super mutants. The normal super mutants would go down to one headshot, but the brutes were a little bit more difficult. It took a lot of quick saving and quick reloading to get through Murder Pass, as I really was trying to just sneak shot as many super mutants as possible without a full-blown firefight. By the time I got to the reactor level, both of my legs were broken and I was severely low on ammo. However, I was able to level up again. I put some points into medicine, a little bit into lockpicking, and I took the commando perk, which will increase my accuracy using VATs when using rifles. Now this, without a doubt, definitely helped, as the headshots just kept on coming. I was able to take down most of the super mutants by sneak shotting and then quickly finishing them off. At this point, a lot of them were brutes, so it still wasn't easy, but I was using a lot less ammo. Now, the good thing about dealing with super mutants is that many of them do have hunting rifles, which means they will drop hunting rifle ammo, as well as the rifles themselves, from which I can use to repair my current weapon. But by the time it came to rescuing Forks, I was so out of supplies it wasn't even funny anymore. So I was forced to basically run to set the fire alarm off to release Forks and let him deal with all the enemies. I did, however, manage to find a bed where I was able to sleep and recover my health, and then it was just a case of hide behind Forks until we get the GEC. Then suddenly, after a blinding flash, members of the Enclave arrived, stole the GEC and took me away to their super secret hideout. Once conscious, I once again leveled up, and I put all of my points into energy weapons. Now this is because the Enclave use energy weapons, and so I was going to have to kill them and use their ammo and guns against them, as there wasn't anything else available as far as I knew. I also took the sniper perk, which will give me increased accuracy when using headshots in VATS. Now, dealing with the Enclave wasn't easy, but because I was nearing the end of the game, I thought I could afford to start using a few med packs. I even found a plasma gun. Eden's sentry robots cleared the rest of the way for me to meet him, where I picked up the FEV virus, even though I wasn't planning on using it. And then I ran like a madman to the exit, where I found Forks, who decided to join me in my fight against the communists. Oh no, sorry, that's this guy, Liberty Prime. I call him the Iron Giant. Sure hope I don't get sued by whoever made that movie. So the last thing to do basically was to clear out a few of the Enclave remnants, blow Colonel Autumn's head off and turn him into some kind of sludgy goo material, and send Forks into the purifier. And there we have it, we've just beaten Fallout 3 without spending any caps. So, when I first started this challenge, I really thought running out of ammo and stim packs was going to be the biggest concern here, and it was really, but all in all, the challenge wasn't too bad. So I'd just like to thank you very much if you've made it this far. I really appreciate the support, and I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do have any suggestions for challenges, please do let me know in the comments, or you can join the Discord, which I will leave a link to in the description. At the moment, I do have quite a few viewer requests that I'm going to try to complete first, but if you do have any, please do let me know. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you all a happy new year. Please like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave any comments if you do have any, and I will see you guys next year. Take care.